it's Mimi. How are you? I hope you're all okay. Thank you for coming back to watch my videos. It's very much appreciated. So this one is going to be about spirituality. It's going to be about what spirituality is to me. It's going to be about why we do it, how we do it. And it's going to be sort of what kind of people might be spiritual and then what, like why is it so good to be spiritual? Then, so I do hope to cover that very, very briefly in this video. Obviously, please keep in mind that this is just my perspective. There are so many different perspectives and understandings of what spirituality is. It is not just one thing. It's many, many things, For me, it's just the whole concept is just huge. But what I am going to do is to try to sum it up as simple as possible, because I am a simple girl most of the time. So let's start with what spirituality is. Spirituality to me it's a way of being, and it is about the soul, and it is about that journey with reconnecting back to the soul. I believe the soul is beautiful, and it is our truest essence, and I think the soul is what gives us vitality. I think it is what is beautiful about us and life, but also I do respect the light and the dark, because we are all aspects, like everything is whole. We can't shut out the shadow sides just to embrace the light. These are all things that are part of us, but what's beautiful about the soul is it's who we truly are. Now, of course, when we're all born, we are all innocent and and blah blah blah, life is beautiful. But what it is that we have our immediate circle around us, that's our family, our friends, our peers, and they then impression us in some way. We learn things, don't we, from them. We watch from how they do things, and then we then do these things. Obviously it starts at home, then it goes into school, and it's our friends and it's our peers. There's lots of ways, and what we consume, what we watch on TV, what we listen to, these are all things that can mold us into different types of people and have us have different types of understandings. And of course, I feel like when we get a little bit older, we start to realize and mature, actually maybe that's not me and that's not who I am. And we start to peel back those layers and start to do a little bit of more deep diving into who we are. And for me, that is what spirituality is. It's that journey back to the soul. It's that journey back to who we are. It's finding out who it is that we truly want to be, and then aligning with that, and then showing the world that. And then I just feel like emotions can be such a good navigation tool for helping you work out what it is that is aligning. I feel like when we are misaligned, we feel quite disconnected, we feel quite depressed, we might feel anxious, life might feel quite chaotic a lot of the time, things might not go our way. I think like when we are aligned, or more aligned, things tend to flow a little bit better. We can, we have nicer things around us. We're not as angry. We feel happy, and we just feel a lot more connected to ourselves and other people. So emotions are a really good tool for working out where we are with our alignment and our soul. But as I said, there are so many different things that make spirituality what it is, and everybody's got their own experiences and their own understandings. This is just sort of what mine is. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I believe spirituality is. I think it's to do with the soul and authenticity and sort of being connected with that, and the journey with getting back to that. So for me, why spirituality is important is really, really simple. I want to feel happy, and I want to feel love, and I want to feel joy more often than not. It is such a lie that spirituality is all love and light and beautiful and, it's magic. It's not magic all of the time. And actually where your growth is and where true spirituality comes in is for your darkest times. And I feel like a lot of people who are on the spiritual path would agree that it was a dark, tormenting moment that triggers the calling to take the spiritual path. I feel like, it just, once we are more aligned and more authentic, life is just so much more pleasurable. We're more pleasurable. Our relationships are so much better. You've got more genuine relationships around you. You're working to your life's mission, so you feel purposeful. Having your soul more aligned with being more aligned with your soul, I should say, is just feels great, and it shows. It feels good, and it shows to people around you. And who does not want that? And I think that kind of brings me quite closely to the and then what. So for me personally, I believe that we reincarnate every lifetime. And I feel like with these carnations, we take previous life lessons, or if we've sort of successfully, you know, worked through them, we then sort of evolve and evolve and sort of embody this new version of ourselves in the next life. I think you can do it in this life because that's how we grow and we develop. But I feel like we ascend, and every time we sort of work on these issues or challenges that we have in this lifetime, I think it does ascend us to a next level, and then we sort of just keep ascending and ascending until we get to a point where we might be at our most ascended, and I believe then we no longer sort of take human form. So we might then ascend into more acting as spirit guides or acting as teachers, and we are then to really help people in a completely different way. That might sound a little bit woo-woo for a lot of people, but that is just what I believe. Yeah, like I just love the idea of growing and being better, and then helping humanity with this new evolved version of myself. And I think that happens in it should happen in every lifetime. Which is where I'm so goal driven, and I'm so self-analytical, and I try to be as self-aware as possible, because for me, I want to be my truest self, and I don't want to be, you know, I don't want these challenges to stop me from ascending, I guess. I just want to be the best version that I can be, so that I can help people, and then we pay it forward. So once I've learned all these lessons, like with these videos, I'm paying what I've learned forward, and then in hindsight that has a ripple effect. So then that will trickle something for somebody else, and they'll think, oh my god, yes. Then they will start self-reflecting, then they will show up their best version, then they want to serve and help people, and they want to be kind and loving. And that's the idea, is that it just has this really beautiful ripple effect when we align, and that we are just there to just pay it forward. And I just love that expression. So what people are spiritual? They can be anybody. I don't think there's a one size fits all. I don't think spiritual people look a particular way. It's just, there's just an air about them, typically. I think everybody's at different levels of their spiritual journey and their soul alignment. Everyone's at different ascensions, you know. You can be spiritual and be someone who just really like gets lost in music and dance. Like that can be seen as spiritual, because how beautiful does that make you feel? You know, spirituality can be like meditation and yoga. It can be people who do shadow work. It can be people who practice spirituality using like tools like tarot or mediums, or psychic channeling, or just being extremely intuitive. It can take so many forms. There's just not a one size fits all. It's anything that makes you feel good and like aligns you with your soul. For me, that's the people who do that are people who are practicing spirituality, and I just love that. So that will bring me to finally looking at how we are spiritual and how we practice spirituality, what that might look like. So similar to who these people are, how we practice that is completely up to you. There is going to be lots of different ways that people do it, and I think that closely linked to the examples that I gave before. It can be music, you know, writing, it can be drawing, it can be creating. These are things that are quite expressive versions of the soul that can connect us to our soul. I think they are really, really beautiful. We've also got things like meditation, people who practice meditation, whether it's guided, candlelight. There's loads of different versions of meditation that can be seen as a way or a practice of spirituality. You've also got divination tools and ways of being. So mediumship, as I explained already, that's when somebody embodies the energy of a loved one. So if you went to go see a psychic medium, they would then be connecting you with passed over loved ones. You've got tarot cards, you've got oracle cards. These again, I think, are mirrors. They act as mirrors for people, so they can see what's going on in their lives and see how they might navigate and maneuver around a lot of these things. And then we've also got things such as numerology. Numerology is the use of numbers, and that numbers have meanings, and that we can use up, like we can count up the numbers in our date of birth or the letters in our name, and that will give us a number, and that's supposed to be, can show a reflection of who we are. And then you've also got simple things like astrology. You've got your sun sign, which is your personality. You've got your rising sign, that is how other people see you. You've got your moon sign, which is internal, which is not so much of what people see. And you've got your house placements and your planet placements. All these things in astrology are what kind of shape us as. So people tend to just typically think the sun sign is who we are, but it's not. It's a lot broader than that. And I am no astrology expert, but I do hope to do a topic on it where I can sort of sum it up briefly for people. Personality tests are fantastic. So Enneagram, I think it's called Enneagram test. I learnt that through watching Fern Cotton's podcast. And she talks about basically, and I just found this point so interesting. She said, if I could look at something and it's going to fast track me in understanding who I am. So, you know, obviously we do a lot of shadow work, we're all self-analytical, and that's great. You peel back enough layers and you can get to the root of the problem or understand what your challenges are. Now, these personality tests are quite good because they can highlight your strengths and your weaknesses. And for your life path numbers, which is another topic I'd love to talk about, it points out some of your challenges in this lifetime. Now, for me, if I'd done them tests when I was a lot younger, I wouldn't recognise a lot of the weaknesses or the life challenges. Now I'm someone who is a lot more experienced in life. I definitely can see a lot of the traits in myself and I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. But do you know what? When you can see your weaknesses and your challenges, you can now put it right. I can now figure out how I'm going to overcome this procrastination, this self-belief issue that I have with thinking that I'm not good enough, and how I want to show up with who does not want a fast track and an insight into how we might make ourselves better people. And that is where these things are absolutely fantastic. For me, that is what spirituality is. So all these tools on how it brings us back to getting back to our most authentic self, peeling back those layers so that we can show up the best version of ourselves. I feel like that is just key. So I absolutely love my favourite prayer, because it just sums up everything for me, is the Serenity Prayer, which is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because there are things that we can improve and there are things that we can't, and it's so important that we don't waste so much time on doing the thing that we shouldn't, and, you know, not accepting the thing that we should accept, or leaving things be with the things that we should change. And I feel like I absolutely love that prayer. It just gets me going every time. So if I'm going to sum it up, I would say spirituality is about feeling good and helping other people to feel good. I feel like it is the journey of getting back to who we truly are. And I feel like there are so many different tools that help us do that. Some people don't need tools, that's fine, and that's completely their prerogative. There's not a right and a wrong way to do this spirituality thing. You know, it is what it is, and you are who you are, and you do what you can with what you know. So I do hope that this has been helpful and just give you a little bit of information on spirituality. As I said, I've not covered everything. It is huge, but I have just tried to cover a couple of examples just so that you can have a little bit more of a better understanding. But as I said, if it has been helpful, please like, subscribe, and leave some comments just to let me know what your perspective is, what your experiences are of spirituality. And yeah, let's just get a conversation going. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.